If you've ever really wanted YouTube workout to work for you, and yet you feel like every time you go to YouTube, there's way too much to choose from, and you can't discern what workouts are going to help you and what workouts are going to be ineffective and lead you down a rabbit hole, then today's video is for you. As someone who has been there and done the rabbit hole and found ineffective workouts in YouTube for many, many years, I have finally figured out what works, and I've spent the last 4 years working out exclusively with YouTube and fitness content in this type of space. And so I found a system that works for me. And today I'm going to share with you my 4-part system, as well as what it doesn't work and the things that you should be looking out for to help you to figure out, is this a good YouTube workout or is this just junk on the internet? So if you're ready to dive in, let's get started. Part 1, what doesn't work? So I learned the hard way many years ago that one of the things that truly doesn't work with YouTube is just randomly picking a workout. I would go into YouTube. I'm like, oh, I'm going to work out today. Right. First mistake. I'm going to go and work out today. Oh, this person looks interesting. Oh, snatched weights. Okay, I'll choose that one. And so I would go and I would just pick a random workout on YouTube and I would do it. And unfortunately, that type of structure or lack of structure does not work when you are trying to pick quality YouTube content. You do have to be much more strategic about it. The other trap that's easy to fall into with YouTube is the sort of pretty but ineffective. And I don't mean this disrespectfully in any way, but I do think it's very easy with the way that our mind works for us to see pretty people doing workouts online and think, oh, well, they're pretty or they have the physique that I want. And so therefore, that must mean that they have good workouts. And unfortunately, again, that is our bias coming into play, and that doesn't guarantee you that they A, know what they're talking about, or B, that they're actually going to give you the kind of workouts that you need for your body. And mistake 3, this was especially a big one for me, is under challenging workouts. And honestly, I think this may have been my biggest problem of all. So you'll have to let me know if any of these are challenges for you as well. But for me, I think this one was the biggest problem of all for me because I would find myself being like, oh, that was a good workout. And I was not actually getting a solid workout. Part 2, what to look for in a good YouTube workout. I'm going to pop over to YouTube together. I'm going to show you in my browser what I am looking for as I go through a YouTube workout to show you the bits and pieces that I think are the most important. We're going to use one of the workout channels that I mentioned in my video about hidden gems on YouTube. And I'll link the rest of that video in case you'd like to see the rest of the content creators that I mentioned in that video. But I'm going to pop on over to YouTube and we're going to look at that together. Hopping over to Ariana Active, she was mentioned in my YouTube's video about hidden gems. So if you want to go watch that and have me do the work for you, that's totally cool too. I know you guys are busy. So I want to share with you, though, on her YouTube channel, what it is about her that made me pick her and be willing to try her workouts. So first, I'm going over here to playlists, and this is what I'm looking for. I am looking for playlists that are series. I like a minimum of a week series, but more is better, in my opinion, but, to each their own. So this is a great example. So this is her series called Pulse. And these are 35-minute workouts. And what I'm looking for here is a series to follow. I've been down the rabbit hole of choosing random workouts, and that just doesn't work. You need a structure. You need a way to keep yourself accountable, and having some sort of YouTube program or series to follow is absolutely the best way to do it, in my opinion. So when I am looking at her program itself, I am noticing that she has a total body, then she's doing a push, a lower, a pull, a lower, and she's making sure to include all of the different body groups. And so that is usually a huge green flag for me as something I'm at least willing to try. I do always do a workout from a series before I ever fully commit to somebody, just to make sure that the vibe check is there, because, sometimes I just don't vibe with a creator regardless of how good their videos might be. But it looks like she has a ton of full playlists here. This one is kettlebell focused. But my point is that that's what I am looking for. Is I am looking for a series to follow, because I need that structure, and I think most of us need that structure to be successful and to be able to actually see the results that we want to see. The other thing I am looking for here is in her bio. I am looking for someone who has some sort of instructor or personal trainer type experience. And in her case, she does. She has 10 years of a fitness instructor slash personal trainer. And she's a mom, which I think is cool, just a relatable life season. But again, not a requirement for me. I prioritize folks who do have this background. But I don't think it's necessary. I mean, for example, I think I could probably put together a pretty good workout now, but I obviously am not any sort of like personal trainer. I just know how to put together my own workouts. So I just feel most comfortable though following a workout program with someone in their bio who has that. It's not a complete deal breaker for me, but I'm much more willing to try your workouts if you are some sort of physical fitness instructor or some personal trainer. And then that's just going to sort of give you credibility, obviously. And I think we have to be careful with who we're choosing to follow. But again, it's not a mandate for me. It's just something that I will prioritize. Then the other thing that I am looking for, and let me just pull up.
What is up, Vaxxed fam? And what?
Oh, she got her little pal there. Hey, cutie. Okay, so the other thing I am looking for in a workout, which requires me to actually physically go into the workouts themselves, is I am looking at the exercises and what kind of movements they are. Are they pretty typical standard exercises, or are they overly complicated nonsense? I've talked about this in videos before, so I'll spare you today. But I'm looking at conventional deadlifts, heel elevated squats, Romanian deadlifts, goblet squat, things like that. So I'm feeling good about what I'm seeing here in the description bar. It is definitely bonus points for me if the stuff is listed in the description bar, because that's easier for me to program into my Whoop. So that also is sometimes a factor for me if they don't have any like notion of what's going to be in the workout. I might just skip it just because it's too much work to try to figure out what it's going to be to put in my Whoop. But that's a personal preference thing. But anyways, the other thing I'm doing, sorry, Anna, I'm messing with your watch time here. Sorry about that. And the thing I'm looking for here is I am looking for her weights. I want to see in the description bar or by looking at her person, what weights is she using? And she tells you in the description, which is also really helpful. She's using 150 pounds for conventional deadlift. She's using 60 pounds for heel elevated squat. So to me, that is a green flag. I'm looking for someone who is better than I am. I am looking for someone who can do more than I can, or at least can do as much to be able to challenge me. And so that is what I'm looking for. I'm personally someone who is looking for heavier weights than I am someone who's looking for light weights. If you're using light weights in a workout, I'm probably not going to choose your workout program. Again, a personal preference thing that hasn't been effective for me. I'm not convinced that's effective for most people, but I don't have all the research to back that up on hand. So, you have to make your own judgment call about that. But for me, to me, and the research I've been reading, being able to push to failure really matters. And in order to be able to do that, you have to lift heavy enough weights. So I'm liking the stacks of weights that I'm seeing over here, and I'm liking what I'm seeing in terms of the programming. So that's the other piece that I am looking for. And I'm also looking for the program split, which we talked about just briefly, but I am looking for the program split and making sure that she is, making sure that she's targeting all the muscle groups in the body. We're like not just upper body focused or not just lower body focused. I want a well-rounded full body approach to my training. Again, that's a bit personal preference, but I also just personally feel like that's the best way to work out. You can decide if you agree with me on that or not, and let me know in a comment. Hopping over to a different video. Secondarily, some of the other things that I will look for is I will start to watch the video and I will notice like their cues and what their structure is. So in this case, I see that she's using a like an up next screen, but I also know she does occasionally talk through her workouts as well. But again, I go through and I really do dig through a YouTube channel before I ever actually give them a try. I know this feels like a lot of work, but this just is what's been effective for me, and it's helped me to make sure that I've got the results that I wanted to see. And of course, I am looking at audio-visual quality. I think it would be foolish to say that I'm not. I do recognize that getting good audio-visual quality on content like this can be tricky. I've tried to do it myself. I have like a workout or two, and it is a little bit tricky to try to navigate equipment, lighting, etc. But I think she does a really good job with it. But again, that's not a deal breaker. That's less important to me, but something I do sort of passively look at. But it won't keep me from doing someone's workout if they're not great. And yes, I am subscribed. I have you guys on a. I know you're wondering. I have you guys on a private screen, so you don't have to see all my YouTube nonsense. The things I'd find that don't matter very much are subscriber number. I don't find the subscriber number to necessarily be the most reliable in terms of is this a good quality workout or not? Because Ariana should theoretically have bazillions of more subscribers than this. Her videos are top shelf, top quality content. And so to me, it is a crime against humanity that she only has 4,000 subscribers. But there's nothing wrong with 4,000 subscribers. I think that's amazing that she has 4,000 subscribers. My point is that it's not a reliable number, because that doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to get a good workout because it's a lower number versus a higher number. I find that as higher numbers go, I'm noticing a trend where like when people get popular, they change their programming. And so it's not as good as it was when they were smaller. So that's also something to keep in mind as well. So subscriber number, not necessarily the most noteworthy thing in terms of is it going to be a good workout. And the other thing is I'm noticing their physique, but again, that's not a deal breaker for me. Genetics are very much play a role here. And also people can edit and Photoshop. You can Photoshop video, you can Photoshop photos, all the things. And so, I am noticing physique, but it's not necessarily a make or break if I will try a workout or not, because again, there's a big genetic component that may or may not be able to be, you can't tell when someone has just, good genetics and when they don't, or they may be building for a different type of thing. So while I do notice it, if they look like a certain way, it might make me want to try workout more, but it's just not necessarily a very reliable resource for whether or not they are fit or toned, or you could sort of see toned, but you can't guarantee being physically fit based on how somebody looks. So that's not something that I usually take a ton of stock in. Hey guys, if you're finding this video useful or helpful, would you please give it a thumbs up? It lets YouTube know it's useful or helpful in some way so that it'll share it out to others who want to get fit with us. Part 3. Top tips for getting the most of your workout. So now that we've talked about what I am actually looking for, I want to give you my top tips for how to make the most out of your workout, because that part is really important too. It's not just about the workout itself. There are a lot of other factors that we really need to make sure that we're considering. And number one is don't treat it like Netflix. We talked about this a bit earlier, but I care to elaborate on it if that's all right by you. You really desperately need a plan when you're going into YouTube. There's just way too much content to just treat it like Netflix and just decide I'm going to watch this one today or this one tomorrow, or whatever the case may be. And so that's why the programming piece is so important. And that's why when I am looking for a creator, I am looking for a program. Find a program that you can follow that's sustainable for you. At least a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe more. I tend to prefer like a full blown program, but I don't think there's anything wrong with repeating a 1 week program for 10, 12, 14 weeks. And that is going to help you to actually see the progress you want to see. You're not going to be able to skip around with the workouts and be able to get the results that you want. I tried that. It didn't work. It doesn't work because you're not properly targeting the various different muscle groups in your body. So find yourself a program and stick to it. To track your progress, this is absolutely vital, because if you are just somebody who's using a scale or you're just looking at yourself in the mirror, it's very easy to not be able to see and recognize the progress that you're making. So I highly recommend measurement for your body. Use a measuring tool of some kind, of multiple kinds. My favorite kinds are a picture. I do like to use a body scanner. They have body scanners now, which are really cool, like the Body Pod, that will let you see like your various different measurements as well, and not just see, what your weight is, because the weight is very fluctuating, right? But having something with more numbers that can give you better data, or something along those lines, again, or a tape measure, or really even just taking photos. Sometimes just taking photos can be enough, because it can be really hard to see the difference between the progress you're making in a couple of months. When you've actually made huge progress, you just mentally can't see it. Number 3, this is a really big one. Use a mirror to prevent injury, especially if you are someone who isn't as experienced with working out. I'm fortunate in that my husband has a military background, and so he has experience with working out in proper weight form, so I can ask him questions and he can look at my form to make sure that I'm not getting hurt, but not everybody has that. So make sure that you are using proper form in your workouts. Get yourself a mirror if you need to and stand in front of it to make sure that you are using proper form with your workouts, A, to avoid injury, but B, because you want to be able to get the most out of your workouts. And you can't do that if your form is wrong. And I did a whole video about picking the right weight for you. So I'll leave that video linked as well. That could be a really useful resource for you after you watch this video. Number 4, this one is a biggie. Choose workouts that are challenging for you. And again, this was something that I really, really struggle with because I liked the easy route. I liked something where I was like, oh, la di da di da. Okay. I'm a little mild. Let me just pat off and I go. Okay, that's a little bit dramatic. But my point is I preferred workouts that didn't make me work hard. But when you don't work hard, you also don't see progress. So I challenge you to make sure that when you're choosing workouts that are challenging for you in some form or fashion. Now, I'm speaking specifically about weightlifting workouts here because that to me, I know has been effective. I tried to be a Pilates girl, y'all. It just didn't work for me. Now, granted, me being the person I am now versus me being that person then, perhaps I would have better results with Pilates. I really, truly do not know. And there's a lot of like genetic factors involved in that. So if you know and understand all that, you're welcome to leave a comment and kind of give us some more detail and information. But I did not find success in using Pilates workouts on YouTube. And I don't know that it's about Pilates itself. It's most likely more about like my physique and things like that. So I can't speak to Pilates workouts, but what I will say is when you're looking at weightlifting workouts, you wanna choose workouts that are hard enough for you that they're actually challenging for you. I would rather you choose a workout that is too hard for you to finish and that you have to not finish now and, try again later or continue to build up than to do a workout that you feel like, "Oh, okay, I'm done, I'm good," and, like, leave gas in the tank, especially multiple days in a week. If you're using like 1 or 2 days a week where you're like, okay, I could still keep going, but I'm good. Like, particularly if it's like an upper body focused day, you might not be as tired, but you should be having a good sweat during these workouts. These should be hard work for you. And if they're not, then it's time to reassess the creator that you're using. And it may just mean it may not even be that the workouts themselves aren't good. It may just be that you've moved up a level, and that's cool too. That's progress too. So consider that as you're looking at the different programs as well. You need to be able to continuously push to failure in order to grow and build muscle and see the progress that you want to see. And if you're not able to do that, then again, that's a discussion for what workout program you're using and is it actually the most effective for you. Honestly, the most important thing in all of this is that if you're looking to build a certain body composition, i.e., tone up, get fit, lose weight, whatever the buzzword is that we're using of the hour, if that is something that is really important to you, then body composition really truly matters. And so that is also going to be around your fitness, but also around your nutrition. And your nutrition is honestly going to matter even more than what workout that you're choosing on YouTube, on an app, on a whatever. And I've done tons of videos on nutrition that I will link for you here in case you want to go and get those a watch next. Those are super valuable resources to go with this because it's not just about the workout. It's also about how we fuel and how we take care of our bodies in order to see the physique that we want to see. Let me know in the comments what are your favorite YouTube creators. I would love to know. It would be a valuable resource for everyone involved. And until next time, bye, friends.